I love to go to church in cathedrals. I'm not a Catholic, but when I'm in Europe, I still go to church, and since we almost always stay in the old part of the city, that church is almost always a cathedral. One summer, not too long ago, my wife and I attended Mass in the cathedrals of 3 different cities: Salzburg, Vienna, and Prague. And worshiping in these cathedrals was one of the highlights of the trip. Holidays are a great opportunity for visiting other churches. I remember doing this as a kid, and I was always a little surprised and intrigued by the differences in how people do Sunday mornings. In college, I took an art history class, and we were assigned to attend a Roman Catholic Mass and a Greek Orthodox Divine Liturgy. That's what they call the Sunday morning service. And then we had to write a paper about the connection between the liturgy and the architecture. It was pretty cool. In the Catholic Mass, there was a lot of back and forth between what the priest says and how the congregants respond. It was antiphonal. So the worship space accommodated this movement. It was basically linear, with the priest at one end and the laity at the other. The Greek Orthodox liturgy involved a lot of circular movement, so the interior space was round. These interactions with different ways of worshiping has affected my thinking. I really believe it's good, if not essential, that Christians worship with believers of different traditions, because it helps to broaden our understanding about ourselves and the church and the God that we all worship. For one thing, you experience what it is like to be a visitor in a church. You know no one. They do stuff with which you are unfamiliar. Are you supposed to do that too? They say words that they assume that everybody knows the meaning of, but you've never heard them before. Maybe through this experience, you will be more understanding of someone who comes to your church for the first time, and your newfound empathy might make you a little bit more welcoming to visitors. And that's nothing but good. Another reason you should go to other churches occasionally is that you know it in your head that everybody worships the same God in all the churches all over the world. But knowing it in your head isn't the same thing as knowing. Experiencing it is really cool. Singing worship songs in Africa, or witnessing a baptism in a Catholic church, or taking communion in an Anglican one, tells your heart what your head already knows. The family of God is diverse, and it is very, very big. One of the biggest and most profound lessons that one can take away from a very different worship experience is a challenge to one's idea about what is normal in worship. The essential purpose of all church services, whether in a gym or a cathedral, is to worship God as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But it's very easy to fall into the idea that my way, my church, my denomination is the normal way of doing this, and everybody else is weird. So this last one is one of my favorite reasons to go to other churches when I'm on vacation. We have some very deeply held assumptions in the North American evangelical church, ones that I think could use some shaking up. In one summer, at 3 services held in 3 cathedrals, I found 3 things to shake up our assumptions. I will tell you about each of these in future videos. Thank you, and we'll see you then.